Hi everybody, welcome back. So I have had two comments from two separate people on my channel recently saying how I've reminded both of them of Adele. They say that I look quite a bit like Adele. Thank you so much for that compliment. That is so lovely. I am very flattered. Adele is stunning. Her makeup is so beautiful as well. She has got such an iconic cat eye style of makeup. It is just so beautifully done. And interestingly, she is an autumn, I'm an autumn, she's a verified Kibbe soft dramatic. I think I am a Kibbe soft dramatic. So what I want to do in today's video is to recreate her makeup, her iconic makeup, on myself and see if it works for me. And I have found on Lisa Eldridge's channel Adele's actual makeup artist, Michael Ashton. He has recreated Adele's makeup look on a model. He's broken it down step by step, so that is what I'm going to follow in today's video. Just a disclaimer in case you are new here, I am not a makeup artist, so my end look will not look as flawless as his, but I'm very intrigued to see how it's going to end up looking on me, because hopefully it'll work, because I'm also a soft dramatic and also we're the same colour season. She is a suspected soft autumn though, and I'm a true autumn, so I will be changing the colours in this a little bit. So the eyeliner and the mascara, I'm not going to go for black, I'm going to go for brown instead. But this is probably going to be a long video, so I'm going to shut up and zoom in and we can just get started. So he starts off by cleansing the face with a micellar water. The one he uses in his video is the Bioderma one. I have this one. This one is really gentle. I tend to kind of use it on my eyes before going in with my cleansing balm. I don't have to do that. My cleansing balm is very good at removing my makeup anyway, but if I've got a lot of mascara on or a lot of eye makeup on, I will just use a bit of this first. And it is really soft and gentle, good for sort of sensitive skins. And this is just helping to remove any oils before serums. He then uses a Decleor Rose Oil. I've got one from Elemis. This is the Pro Collagen Rose Oil Blend. Just put 3 drops of that onto my palm. And he says this is good for helping to just sort of calm the skin, bring down any redness. I do have a bit of underlying redness and I've got quite a few breakouts at the moment recently. I don't know what's going on with my skin. It is not happy. He then goes in with the Bobbi Brown Illuminating Balm. I don't have that, so instead I'm just going to use the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base, which is my favourite primer. It's so moisturising and hydrating. I don't often use it as a actual moisturiser though. I just tend to use this in my primer step of my makeup routine. Then we are straight on to the eyes, starting off with a clear brow gel. This is NYX Control Freak. I'm really running low on this though. I think this one is going to be an empty in the next couple weeks. He then uses MAC Paint Pot in Groundwork. I don't have Groundwork. It has been on my potential to buy list for quite some time. I have Painterly, which is lighter than Groundwork. Groundwork appears to be, from the video, a bit of a sort of like a light camel shade, whereas this one is more like my skin tone, but it's the only one I've got, so that's what I'm going to use. And he says that he brings it up to like the natural crease in the eye. And then he brings some of that under the lower lash line as well. That's interesting because I would think you would leave the lower lash line until you've done your base, but no, he puts some under there. And then he takes a fluffy blending brush, the iconic MAC 217. I do not have that one. This is a Zoeva 228 Luxe Crease brush, and he just softens out that line in the socket. I don't think this step is really vital for me though, because this paint pot is a lot lighter than Groundwork, but I'm going to follow that step anyway. So he then mixes a couple of light shimmer shades from a Tom Ford palette, I think. I am going to mix a couple from my Modern Renaissance Norvina palette. He says they have a bit of a goldy bronze hue, so the ones that I'm going to go for are these two here. I think this one is Primavera. This one definitely isn't Red Ochre. I think that one might be Summer from the Norvina palette, I think, but I'm going to go for those two. And he does that in like little circles all over the lid. And he says that he brings it right into that inner corner as well. And then he takes a bigger fluffy brush and just blends this right up to the eyebrow. Okay, we're on to the difficult bit now, the eyeliner. He uses the Bobbi Brown Longwear Gel Eyeliner, which I have. He uses it in a black though. I've only got mine in a chocolate shimmer ink, which is a dark chocolate brown colour. He starts off by putting some of it onto his hand, like so, and then just works the brush into it. I have the Bobbi Brown brush that's recommended for it, the Ultra Precise Eyeliner. And he starts on the inner to mid third, bringing it out, just starting to create that shape. And he says with this at the moment, don't worry too much about precision, which is good. You're just getting on a line. And he brings it out just past the natural line, and then he says he's going to wing it out at the end. And then we do the inner corner. He does say that he stretches it out, but this is where I need 3 hands or a freestanding mirror. Right, now we've got to do the wing. He says that he starts from sort of like the midpoint right at the lashes, and then does like a 45, I'm quite low, aren't I? Like a 45-degree angle out to the temple. I did just have to do that flick in the mirror behind me because I needed to put down my handheld mirror. I think with this technique you do need a freestanding mirror so you can really pull your skin and get that really defined line. And then I just need to build up this intensity in this outer corner, but I need like my hand, so I think I'm just going to do this off screen and then I will come back. So this is the line that I have made. It is not perfect, but like I said, I'm not a makeup artist, and I definitely needed to do this in a freestanding mirror so I could like pull tight the skin and use the brush with the other hand. I now need to do the line on this eye and make it somewhat even, so I will be doing this bit off camera and I will be back with hopefully what is an even eyeliner. Also in the video he skipped over doing the eyeliner in the second eye. I was hoping that he would give some tips on how to make it kind of symmetrical because your eyes aren't symmetrical. This eye is, hang on, this eye is more hooded than this eye, so I think I need to go possibly just a little bit thinner perhaps on this eye and sort of see how I can make it symmetrical, but yeah, I'll be back. Second line done. That only took me 5 minutes. That took me a lot quicker than I thought it would take me. I know they're not completely perfect, completely symmetrical, but I think that that is the best that I am going to get both of these lines. So he then does false lashes, but I don't own any false lashes. I don't really like them. So I'm going to move on to mascara next. He puts some on the back of his hand, uses a fan brush. I don't have a fan brush, but the closest I've got is the Detail Blending E27 brush from Sigma. Put some on the brush and then you just kind of like paint the very roots of your lower lashes with the mascara. Is it even coming through? The mascara I'm using is the Bobbi Brown Smoky Mascara. This is in black. I like how this makes my lashes look, so I tend to go in with this mascara first and then I go over the top with my Yves Saint Laurent Lash Clash in the brown. So this is giving like a bit of an eyeliner effect under the eyes. I think I'm going to stop there because that's looking like enough. And he then just goes and applies mascara in the usual way to the top lashes. So I'm just concentrating that Bobbi Brown mascara into the roots first. And seeing as I'm not using false lashes, I need to put on quite a few coats of mascara to get that real kind of dramatic eye look. Also, I think the cat has come out of the wardrobe now, so I can close this door. Although this is a brown gel eyeliner, it does look quite dark. It does look like it is verging on black. And then Yves Saint Laurent Lash Clash over the top. I'm going to stop there because this mascara can easily go quite clumpy and quite heavy, so I think that's probably enough mascara that I can get away with today. To further define the liner, he then goes in with a liquid one over the top to really kind of just make sure that it's really crisp and quite dramatic and sharp. I do not have any liquid liners, so I'm just going to leave my eyeliner as it is. I don't want to go in with more gel eyeliner because I think that I'm just going to potentially mess it up. So I'm just moving on to the next step, which is a bit of product in the brow to just define your natural shape. I only have a clear brow gel, so I'm just using an eyeshadow from the ABH palette. I'm using the shade Warm Taupe. This is quite a good shade for my brows actually. I am trying to pan this palette next year, so I might use this shade as an eyebrow shade. So he used an eyebrow pencil on Lottie's brows in the video, and he then goes in with a brow brush, which I don't have, and he then goes in to set that with a mixture of some sort of neutral brown eyeshadows. But seeing as I put an eyeshadow in my brows, I'm not going to do that step. So that is eyes done. So we now need to go back to the base, and he puts on a bit more of the Rose facial oil. So more of my Elemis oil. My face feels very red and it feels very hot, so I definitely need some of this to help kind of calm it and bring it down. I think I must just be having a bit of a hot flush and my cheeks are all kind of pink, so I definitely need some foundation and concealer over the top to kind of tone this down. So onto foundation next. I've put some of the Yves Saint Laurent Touche Eclat foundation onto the back of my hand. He uses Estee Lauder Double Wear Light, which I have used in the past, but I don't think you can get it anymore, or it's been renamed something different. That is a lovely foundation. I really like Estee Lauder Double Wear, but I find it a little bit too heavy, and the light version is basically just a lightweight, more radiant, youthful foundation, so I really like that one. So he starts off with putting the foundation onto the forehead, which is interesting because some people say that you shouldn't put foundation on your forehead. And then he does either side of the nose. Definitely need a little bit more than that. So he uses a combination of a brush to just get the product on, and then uses his fingers to help kind of blend it out. I usually find one pump of this foundation is enough for me, but with my redness and my breakouts, I feel like I definitely need a little bit more. So just a bit more foundation onto the skin, just concentrating that on my redness and on my blemishes. I usually apply this with a damp sponge. I find like it shears it out, but actually just really working it in, I'm finding that it's looking better. He also says make sure you apply some down your neck as well, along the jawline, under the chin, so you have that kind of seamless blend going on. And then he also takes a fluffier brush to really kind of just smooth out the foundation. So your first brush is denser to get your product on, and then he uses a fluffier brush to just kind of blend it out that bit more. This is a, well, it doesn't say, but I know it's an Avon brush, but I tend to use this one for face powder and bronzer and blusher. So he uses an illuminating concealer for his model, but I need a bit more of an actual full coverage concealer because I have dark circles going on, and I would usually colour correct, but I haven't because he hasn't, and I've been following his instructions. He spot conceals later, but where I've got quite a few breakouts going on, I'm gonna spot conceal now. With the eyes, he applies his concealer in like a crisscross fashion. It's a bit difficult to do that with this brush. I have tried, but that's the technique that he uses because he says that's a little bit more seamless. And he uses a fluffy brush to help blend that in with your finger as well. And then he goes back to that bigger, fluffier brush that he used to blend in the foundation, and uses that to help further blend out the concealer. I feel like this is a little bit too big though. I'm a bit concerned that it's going to affect the eyeliner. And then I'll just use my finger to blend out the concealer on the blemishes. He then puts some pressed powder around the perimeter of the face, on the cheekbones, under the jaw, because these are the areas that we're then gonna contour. So that helps to kind of stop any kind of like real grip and movement of the base products. So next he does powder contour. I don't have any powder contour products. I've looked at the rest of the routine and there doesn't seem to be a bronzer going on in the routine. So I'm actually going to contour with a bronzer, which I know is slightly controversial. I am going to use the lighter shade from my Vive Bronzing Duo, and I've got an angled fluffy blusher brush which is from Lily Lolo. So just working some of that product into the back of my hand, and then he says to suck in like that so you can see where your cheekbones are, and then just work that in under your cheekbone, and then he turns the brush so he can then do sweeping motions upwards like that. I feel like that hasn't shown up at all though, so I definitely need to go in with a couple more layers of this. And then he brings that up onto the temple and just a bit up onto the forehead, not too much onto the forehead though. Then using the same brush but with a little bit less product, he just goes along the jawline and then brings it down a little bit under the chin onto the neck area. And then a little bit of nose contour, either side of the nose, the smaller fluffier brush, onto the tip as well. I've started contouring my nose recently with a powder. I think the same colour powder that I put in my eyebrows actually. And then what's left on the brush, he just works up into the brows so it's kind of continuous. So then he uses a cream blusher. I'm going to use my Rare Beauty cream blusher in the shade Nearly Apricot with the same brush that I used the contour product for, but I have gotten rid of lots of it onto my wrist. I like this one for blusher products though because it's really fluffy. So and again he just works that into the hand and he applies it higher up on the cheekbones, more towards the apples, and he does like a lot of this kind of like fluffing kind of motion, and he goes out onto the cheekbones, and that creates like a really nice diffused blush. You can tell you've got blusher on, but it's not like an obvious stripe. So this is where he spot conceals with a teeny tiny little brush. I'm just going straight in with the applicator. I have already concealed, but I still feel like they are coming through quite a bit. So just popping these where is needed, and then I'm just going to blend these out with my finger and then just soften the edges with a fluffy brush. So he uses a bit of Dr. Pawpaw's lip treatment. I'm just using a little bit of Vaseline. He then lip lines the lips with MAC Boldly Bare. It looks very similar to NYX Natural, which I have here. So I'm just going to outline my lips and then fill it in the corners. And he then uses his finger to pat it into the lips. And then penultimate step is a little bit of a clear lip gloss to the Cupid's bow and the bottom, middle of the bottom lip. Press together and then finger pat out. Last bit of pressed powder through the T-zone but not on the cheek. And this is the final look. What do you guys think? This took me ages, this took me an hour and a half, but I do really like it. I think this is really quite lovely on the eyes. It was a lot easier to do than I thought it would be actually. I thought it would take me ages and I wouldn't be able to get the lines right, so I think the eyes look really nice. The one thing I don't like with the eyes is putting the mascara, the black mascara, on my lower lashes with the brush. Coupled with the fact that I haven't colour concealed, I think it is coming across too dark and too purple. So I think what I just want to quickly do is just put a little bit of brown liner and smudge that out and then see what that does to the final look. So I just removed some of that black mascara under the lower lash line, smudged a bit of brown liner, put a bit of brown mascara on the lower lashes, and then did a little bit more concealing. And then this is the final look. I've taken out my hair as well and given it a brush. So to those two people who said that I remind you of Adele, do I look even more like Adele now? Let me know. But hope you did like this video. I had so much fun doing this video. I quite like kind of recreating tutorials. I really like this makeup look. I think this looks really nice. I don't think it's too overwhelming on my features, so this is something that I would definitely look to keep recreating. On a daily basis, I don't think I would go for a wing as big as this. Lisa Eldridge does have like a little tiny kitten eye tutorial on her page that I have seen. I've kept meaning to try, so I will probably give that one a go because I think that one might be a little bit more appropriate for a day-to-day wear. If I was to do this again, I would definitely change a couple of things. I would definitely need to make sure that I put on some under eye corrector because my dark circles have still kind of come through. I wouldn't do the black mascara technique on my lower lashes. I think instead what I would do would be to smudge out maybe a bit of bronzer or a bit of like a warm brown eyeshadow underneath the lower lash line, maybe with a bit of some brown eyeliner in there as well, depending on how strong the shadow is coming through. The lips I like, but I associate Adele with very warm brown lip colour, so I think that I would go for a more brown lip colour than this, but this one is really nice for everyday wear. But yeah, I really quite like this makeup look. This was a success, I think, despite it taking me an hour and a half. So hope you did like it. If you did, please do let me know down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again very soon for my next one.